Thanks very much, Carly.
You're welcome.
All right, today right here in Iowa, national security is a key highlight in the Republican agenda as the war rages on in the Middle East, and our defense secretary remains in the hospital.
He's following his doctor's orders and in consultation with their views in terms of what kind of additional care he needs. And we'll see, when he can get released. But obviously, they still feel like he may need some additional care. I understand that part of that is just physical therapy.
Well, Fox and Friends weekend co-host and Army vet Pete Hegseth joins us live here in Des Moines.
Hey, Steve. Good morning.
You know what? He went into the hospital on January 1st. Here we are up to January 15th.
Yes.
He's a lot sicker than we thought.
Indeed. And he had the initial surgery on, I think, December 22nd.
Right.
And then was rushed back in because of complications. So this has been ongoing for nearly a month. Let me tell you, hearing from guys that are serving and vets, they're almost, not quite, but almost as outraged about this as they were about the debacle in Afghanistan. Obviously, Afghanistan's worse. Everything's
People
worse
lost their
there.
lives.
But the comparisons are the same. You lose a bunch of generals or leaders like Milley and Austin lose a war in horrific fashion based on terrible mismanagement. No one gets fired. Now, if a guy in my platoon lost a single rifle during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right.
We once cleared an entire city just to get a mounted machine gun back, okay, because our commander wanted it back.
Yeah.
We'd be fired. Lloyd Austin? Absolutely not. How about if one of my guys went AWOL for 2 days?
Right.
I just decided to extend my leave for a couple of days. They're canned, they're reduced in rank, their pay is taken. He decides to not notify the commander-in-chief,
right,
the country, and his staff while we've got wars around the world, and Joe Biden has confidence in him. It's shattering
right,
for the perception that there's any application of accountability across any aspect of our government.
Pete, I think this is one of those instances where we've heard from high-ranking advisors to this president. They go, some things we just don't tell the president because there's so much going on in the world. Some things don't rise to the level. You would think that the defense secretary being out of commission would rise to the level of telling the president. They didn't tell him for 5 days, and then when he found out, he's fine with it. And this probably goes to what Peter Doocy, our White House correspondent, has said from the North Lawn, and that is that this president is very loyal. This guy and his son, Lloyd's son, Beau Biden, were, it sounds like, pretty tight in Afghanistan. And in fact, we go to mass together and things like that. And at the end of the day, it sounds like loyalty trumps job performance.
Okay, there's loyalty, but don't be loyal to losers. I mean, who are undermining our country and not doing their job. And that hurts me as a taxpayer or me as a soldier, right, who wants our country to be put first. And clearly that is not happening here. 100 days in a war in Israel, stalemate in Ukraine, a new president in Taiwan who might incite a reaction from China, Iran. I mean, there was a drone strike on an Iranian agent in Baghdad authorized while Lloyd Austin was nowhere to be found. Who authorized
Who did that?
Who's in charge?
It wasn't the president.
Tell me who's in charge. Is it Jake Sullivan? Is it not the vice president? We literally don't know.
Somebody was walking by, the phone was ringing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
No kidding. All right, so you are here in Iowa, and we were talking about if this is the coldest you've ever been. He's from northern portions of Minnesota, so probably
pretty cold,
yeah,
I'll say. This is up there.
We should point out, you are here because tonight Fox Nation is going to be live at Iowa City.
Yes, check it out tonight. 7 o'clock local, 8 o'clock Eastern. Fox Nation will be inside a caucus site. So we'll be in the gym.
That's great.
At, I believe it's Herbert Hoover High School in Iowa City. Tom Bevan from Real Clear Politics will be there. And we'll have a bunch of local folks from Iowa breaking down. How does a caucus work? What's it like to be inside the meeting? The Republican Party has welcomed us in. Charlie Hurt will be there also. And so we're going to walk you through the process behind the scenes and then watch the results come in with you on
fantastic.
Fox Nation. A little informal. Watch the channel too. But check out Fox Nation.
I'm going to be at Abraham Lincoln High School, which is within a mile or two of where we are sitting right now.
Just checking it out, observing.
That's right, and we'll have a report tomorrow. In the meantime, all of the candidates over the last 48 hours have been, despite the weather, have been really barnstorming.
Yeah.
The barn is frozen. Donald Trump was in Iowa yesterday handing out pizza to all sorts of people as well. Tell us a little bit about, there he's got it in Waukee, Iowa. Tell me a little bit about the enthusiasm you've seen from the various candidates, and I know you've heard from every candidate's got fans here.
Not just pizza, but Casey's Pizza, which is well known.
The best.
In Iowa.
The best.
And described as the best by those that prepared it. That'll be the name of the game, is which camp is truly enthusiastic to come up for this candidate. This is about activists. President Trump has had a lead from the beginning. He's maintained it. I think as long as he's north of 45, he comes out of tonight the winner. It doesn't have to be 50. We'll see. The Haley DeSantis, where they stand, will tell us a lot about the future of this race.
Sure.
If Ron DeSantis can't be in second, and he's even in any way in third place, that does not bode well for his future. And I think Vivek will be interesting to see. His people seem to be fired up. If they are organized and caucus, there could be a surprise. But it was interesting to see Trump turn his fire on Vivek as we get closer here, too.
Shooting inside the tent.
Well, they're not quite in the same tent. They're pretty close.
They're pretty much in the same tent. Come on.
Right now. So.
All right. Pete, good luck tonight.
Good to see you, Steve.
All right. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.